Have you ever wondered how one of the world's most popular open source projects, the one with that friendly dolphin logo, could suddenly split apart and create a whole new wave of powerful databases? Well, it's an incredible story about how a single project became this massive, sprawling ecosystem, and it all kicked off because of one huge corporate buyout. At the very heart of this whole thing is this fundamental clash of ideas. On one side, you've got the original spirit of MySQL, right? Governed by its community, built on open collaboration. And on the other, you have the corporate machine of Oracle, a powerhouse driven by big enterprise sales and a very clear top-down plan. This contrast, this tension, really set the stage for everything that was about to happen.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're talking about the exact moment that the beloved open-source dolphin, MySQL, found itself swimming in the very deep, very corporate waters of Oracle. This was the acquisition that sent these huge ripples of uncertainty through the entire developer world.
This timeline really puts it into perspective. Throughout the 2000s, MySQL was just killing it, thriving under this community-led model. But in 2010, the entire landscape just shifted. Oracle buys Sun Microsystems, and literally overnight, they become the new owners of MySQL. Suddenly, the project's future wasn't in the hands of its creators or its community anymore. And you can imagine, this change sparked immediate and honestly widespread concern. Developers everywhere started asking the same kinds of urgent questions. Would Oracle, a company famous for its closed-source software, start slowing down innovation on this open-source project? Were the licenses about to get way more restrictive? And maybe the biggest fear of all, would the community that literally built MySQL from the ground up completely lose its voice?
But here's the thing. The community didn't just sit around and wait to find out what would happen. No way. Instead of just backing down, they made a powerful counteroffer. And this is really where the true strength of the open-source world just shines. They responded by using a tool called a fork. It's a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful. You just take the existing source code, the very DNA of the software, and you start a new, completely independent line of development on it. You're basically creating a whole new branch on the software's evolutionary tree.
And just like that, the rebellion began. Two major forks popped up almost immediately. First, you had MariaDB, launched by MySQL's own original creator with a single, simple promise: to keep it free and open source forever. Then you had Percona server, which carved out a totally different space, focusing entirely on making a faster, more reliable, enterprise-ready version of MySQL.
So the crucial point to understand here is that these forks weren't just about preserving the past. They weren't just lifeboats to escape Oracle. They were the beginning of entirely new journeys, each one forging its own unique path of evolution and innovation.
Now this table, this is great because it lays out those different paths so clearly. Oracle's MySQL, its goal was to integrate into their massive corporate ecosystem. MariaDB, on the other hand, was all about community governance and became this hotbed for new features, like cool new storage engines. And Percona, they just doubled down on what they do best, tuning for performance and providing rock-solid enterprise reliability. Three totally different philosophies, all born from the exact same code.
And this is why it all mattered so much. What could have easily been a disaster that fractured the whole community instead led to a much richer ecosystem. For the first time, developers had real, meaningful choices. You could stick with the original, go with the community-led innovator, or pick the performance-tuned powerhouse. You had options.
Which brings us to the lasting impact of this entire saga. It's a story that actually teaches a pretty profound lesson about the nature of open-source software and its incredible, almost stubborn ability to adapt and survive.
And it really all boils down to this one critical truth. The real strength, the resilience of open source software, it doesn't come from centralization. It comes from decentralization. It's this idea that if one path starts to get a little shaky or uncertain, new ones can and absolutely will pop up to carry the project forward. All right, so after seeing this whole story play out, what's the big takeaway? What's the really crucial point to remember from the great MySQL fork?
Okay, let's break down the key lessons here. First off, this proved that forks are a vital escape hatch. They protect innovation when a company's leadership suddenly changes course. Second, it showed us that community governance isn't just a nice idea. It's how you build real, long-term trust with developers. Third, Percona's success was a masterclass in how focusing on one specific niche, like performance, can create a huge winner. Fourth, by staying compatible with each other, these forks made sure the whole ecosystem didn't shatter into a million pieces. And finally, and this might be the biggest lesson of all, this new diversity of choice choice didn't weaken the system. It made it infinitely stronger and way more resilient.
Which brings us right back to where we started. It's just the perfect metaphor for this story, isn't it? What began as a single beloved dolphin swimming in the huge ocean of the internet didn't just disappear. Instead, it gave rise to these multiple, powerful new currents, each one flowing in its own direction, but all of them coming from the very same source.